your bones healthy is probably something that you may have thought about, maybe not, but this is something that in terms of preventing osteoporosis and keeping your bones nice and strong, it's something that we definitely need to pay attention to, especially for longevity reasons and being able to live an active and healthy lifestyle, especially as we're aging. Well, there are some causes of osteoporosis and lack of that proper bone density that you may not have thought about, and I'm going to talk about those now. It's something that I've talked about in other videos, and that is leptin resistance and how your hormones are actually related to your bone health. And the problem with that leptin resistance is that it blocks osteocalcin. Now, osteocalcin is something that is produced by your osteoblasts in your bones, and this is something that when you've got enough of that osteocalcin, that is what is going to help to bind your calcium to your bone with, of course, the help of vitamin K. So that proper bone matrix and that proper strength of the bones is related back to the hormones and your leptin signaling. Now, we know that leptin signaling has a lot to do with your connection to natural sunlight exposure, to your environment, to the electromagnetic fields, the geomagnetism in the earth. This is all interconnected and has a big influence on how strong your bones are. So making sure that you're fixing that leptin resistance. We also know that osteocalcin increases our insulin production and helps testosterone levels. It also helps to improve our brain function and regulates our dopamine and serotonin levels. Osteocalcin also helps with our muscle strength, and that's really important for bone health as well, because we need to be able to move our body to put those compressive forces on our bones to help to actually strengthen our bones. But I've got some tips for you now to help to get those stronger bones. I've got 5 of them. Let's go through the list, and you can probably guess what number 5 is. I already gave you a bit of a hint there. Okay, number 1 is to lift heavy things. So doing weightlifting, some type of weight training, super important, especially for women. And I find that women's muscle mass definitely decreases very quickly after a certain age when the hormones are changing. So getting outside, getting active, lifting heavy things. It doesn't need to be weights and weight training. Getting outside, lifting, doing your gardening, lifting heavy bags of grass or weeds, whatever it may be, doing that regularly is so important for stronger bones. Okay, tip number 2 is to optimize your vitamin D levels. And of course, we know that natural sunlight exposure on our skin without the sunscreen, taking off as much clothing as possible in that natural sunlight, middle of the day when that UV is the strongest, to get that active vitamin D, super important for the stronger bones, because we know that vitamin D helps with the proper deposition, again, of that calcium into the bones and the other minerals that are involved in that bone matrix as well. Okay, tip number 3 for stronger bones is to eat more seafood. Now, seafood I love because it's loaded with minerals, things like magnesium, which is super important, and it helps with our calcium absorption. If you're lacking in that manganese and magnesium, you won't have that proper calcium absorption into the bones and into your teeth as well. And tip number 4 is to limit your EMF exposure. So what are EMFs? Electromagnetic fields from your cell phone, from your Wi-Fi, from all the electronics in your home. Really important that you're decreasing that exposure. And one of the things that happens when we've got too much EMFs in our environment, and I'm talking man-made EMFs, is that something called the VGCCs open up. These are voltage-gated calcium channels. And what they do is they flood too much calcium out of the bones into the circulation. Not a good thing. You can imagine if your bones are dumping that calcium, not staying in the bones, you're not going to have those strong bones. Okay, and tip number 5 for stronger bones, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, of course, is to fix your hormones and to fix your leptin resistance. And that is going to help to decrease that blocking of your osteocalcin so that it can do what it needs to do to help to strengthen your bones, of course, with the help of that vitamin K. So making sure that you're getting that early morning sunlight in your eyes, on your skin. You stop snacking, you stop eating after dark. These are all tips that can help with leptin resistance. But I've got more tips on how to do that. So for more tips on how to fix your leptin resistance, please check out my video, 5 tips to fix your leptin resistance. I'll see you there.